I'd like to talk a little bit about my philosophies as a director in my filmmaking. Now, the interesting thing is, I'm a very low budget film director, especially at this time. And I like pre production. And pre production is a hard and interesting challenge when you don't have money to pay people. I work on a lot of passion projects, and oftentimes I ask a lot out of my actors and my crew in before we even start shooting. I basically, with my actors, ask them to rehearse at their houses with them, and if their house is not a suitable space or they can't because of roommates or other issues, then I invite my house open to rehearse with them in pre-production. The same with production designers and cinematographers. I will show production designers like everything that I have in terms of things to hang on walls, or furniture or props or different things from my personal house that they can use. Because I usually don't have budgets that I can give them a rental house like spending spree on. And yeah, there's also this interestingness too, in that because I'm willing to like give so much, I can be a little intense on people. I can often get very incredulous when I'm like willing to help actors get off book or memorize lines, but they like don't take me up on the opportunity to a fault. I sometimes, am like, come on, come on. Like, we're all in this, we're going full throttle. And it's an important balance too, because for me as a director, it is it is one of the only projects I will have at a time. I can't really be directing, anything more than 1.5 projects at a time. Directing, something currently, and a little bit doing some of the either post or development on something else. And I think that's part of it, is my live and breathe focus of that. The other thing is that there comes this thing that happens a lot in my directing, where I am a champion for artists having control over their own territory. What I mean by that is, I'll be on a show and, say the director of photography will start, wanting, this or that in terms of like, like maybe we can change the lines or have it be this or have it be that way. And I feel like, no, like let's like leave the story elements like into their categories. And as the director of photography, I like to have that person be the director of particularly the camera angles and lighting, and to kind of keep their head in that game. That way they can give us the best camera angles and the best lighting and the best way of covering a scene and the way of approaching the scene. Perhaps even some input on some of the blocking points of the scene. But before we get even too far with the director of photography with blocking, I like to at least come up with the actors what's natural with the blocking first, because that's their corner that they have. And the same with, production design. I like to give my production designers a lot of freedom. and rather than have them be, simply furniture movers, I like to have them be artists and have them have control over it instead of always looking to either me or the DP for approval, but for them to put their executive finger on the design and the look and some of the choices, like what would this character wear? What would their room be like? All of these things. I love enabling the production designer to be the artist in this, so that the production designer can move fast and efficient too. Because if the production designer has to explain to like every single department, and especially a volunteer crew or a low budget crew like this, explain to the gaffer why, this outfit, not that outfit, or explain, this or that, then it's all, going crazy with that. People like me, people like the DP will, you know, let these professionals know when their ideas are not in line with the vision, and, when they train wreck other departments too. Maybe it is a cool dress, but we can't have something with moire, or we can't have, something so black and dark, because then it all blends in with the background and it becomes floating head, or different things like that. And yeah. There's so much to think about, and there's so much that I am thinking about also in terms of team and trust as a director. As a director, one of my most important things is to create a safe space for artists working together, to make sure that the actors feel me as a teammate, that I have them, and that I'm really looking out for them, and then they can trust me as a resource to go to, not only for the pre-production, but also for their performance, and to trust me to be their outside eye for their performance. And yeah, in that same vein, I let actors be themselves and choose their characters, so long as it still fits the story. I feel like actors have a better sense for their characters because they live in their characters. And in that, I make them the artists of their own domain, and try to defend other departments from telling them, what their character, should ultimately, be like or do as much as possible. Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of different elements, and some of those elements are even helping prevent team conflicts before they start too. If one person's getting in another person's business a lot, helping to give that person that challenge in their department that gets them off of focusing on others. It could be tough. You have crew people with sometimes past relationships with each other, and one crew person could be a little hard on another crew person, and I could be seeing some of that, and I still have something to learn in those categories, but I also know that I have a lot to give in terms of people interacting with each other, creating a safe space for a team to work effectively and beautifully as the powerhouses of expertise and artists that they are. My job as a director is to facilitate artists working together